everybody's muted except the presenter.
Okay, and some of them may be coming from outside UKZN. They could bring certain credits that needs to be transferred. And then there could be queries that, I passed 2 modules, why am now on risk, or why is my color code shown as orange? So these are things which mentors need to know. They should be aware of these things, because if there are queries in that regard, then there could be issues with enabler issues, that a student says that I can't see so-and-so module on the online registration system. Again, I don't want to talk too much about this, because Prof. Gibson comes after me. She will be dealing with online registration. And one thing that all mentors and coordinators need to note very carefully is that mentors or coordinators must not provide academic advice. Okay, but you could ensure that, if a student is registered for marine biology, you are aware that they must be taking these modules. If you see any anomaly, or if you see any discrepancy in the registration, or problems or issues with the registration, please refer them to the ADOs or the academic leaders of teaching and learning, or academics in the respective school that they belong to, so that they can be helped. But your assistance to them is to ensure that they get the proper help and they're referred to the right person. That's level 2. So level 1 was about when they accept the offer. Level 2 is with registration, that will happen very soon. And then level 3 of onboarding is the units, the FY units that the students will do throughout the year. So coordinators and mentors need to have an oversight of student engagement in these units. The first one will start on the 7th of Feb, which is Monday next week. So they all will have access to UKZN at a glance and digital literacy module, which Dr. Haricharan and her team has come up with. That's about to be rolled out, and you will have a first peek tomorrow in your training midday tomorrow. Okay, so these sessions will continue, and you on a weekly basis, we will guide you how to ensure that students have access. But all you need to do is that in your 20, 25, 30 students that you are located with, each of you mentors need to monitor whether these students are engaging with Unit 1, Academic Literacy Unit 2, Psychosocial Unit 3, and Unit 4 is on Financial Literacy. So you need to have an idea where to find these units, how would these units be run, and to assess if students are actually doing this unit. So that's the job of each of the mentors. Then these units will be delivered on the online platform, and for now there won't be any face-to-face engagement, and depending on students back to campus as the year progresses, we will make you aware if there is a need for any face-to-face workshop or engagement that your college heads will let you know. Then, as I said, the mentors will be trained tomorrow for the functioning of Unit 1. And at level 4, this is something key for all coordinators and mentors, which will be useful throughout the year. A lot of these units you know personally where they are, and it could differ from campus to campus, as I said, and from college to college. So coordinators, it may be a great idea to have a list specific for your college and your campus for the assistance of the mentors, or to know, say for example, who is the person responsible for student funding, or who is the financial advisor for NESFAS on Westville campus. Those kind of information you need to come up with a list for. So first is referral of students to academic monitoring and support programs in various colleges. There are supplemental instructions. In law and management, you have ADOs, there are tutors, and there is writing center. There is academic advising from academic leaders and ADOs, or principal ADOs, senior ADOs. Then we have training and workshop for students from time to time, which may explain to them the writing skills, or it may be time management sessions or exam preparation sessions, or workshops on robot systems. So those kind of workshops, you must encourage students to participate in. We have life skill sessions for some students. There are residence tutorials in certain colleges, virtual tutors, online diagnostics, and learning enhancement checklist, at least after the first semester, for students who are not performing well. So basically, AMS is at different levels. This could differ from college to college. So please speak to your head of AMS in the college to know that what AMS programs run in your specific college. Then we have ICS, which helps with, they have a student support and student help and support line. You can email, you can phone them. They deal with issuing of laptops, and then they also deal with digital assistance. They operate the lands, and those kind of facilities fall under ICS. Library services, there will be a training on that as well. How to access the library database online. How can students procure books, returning of books, having access to journals and things like that. This must be known so that if a student has a query, you would be able to guide them. Student counseling for psychosocial counseling and support. Dr. Pillay already gave a whole presentation on that, so I won't touch, but each of the colleges have managers and counselors to help you with this. Then student governance, it falls under two parts. One is the student academic services, which is your college office. They deal with registration, change of curriculum, term decisions, and issuing of degrees, and all this admin processes. Can you please mute? Can you please mute and listen to the presentation? Thank you. And then this college office is managed by the CASMs, which is the academic services managers, and they have PAOs, as I said, and they have AAOs who help with various registration issues. But you also have the student academic administration, SAA, who deal with issuing of transcripts, of conduct certificates, of proof of registration, and these kind of documents can be obtained from the SAA. The next is student financial aid. This is for financial aid or NSFAS, and you have financial aid counselors or advisors on each campus. Their details is provided by every college, a copy of which you could have, and you could guide the students to respective offices. Student housing, the Department of Student Residence Affairs, they govern the on-campus residences and off-campus and some of the private residences. So if there are issues that students are facing in residences, it can be taken to the RAs in the residence or to the staff in DSRF. So that is one area that you could assist them. As Dr. Pillay already mentioned, we have disability unit on each campus. This is a unit that assists with students who have disability in hearing or sight, or even people who have various other forms of disability. This unit helps in their registration. They help in applying for NSFAS or for the disability bursary allocation. They also assist with various devices. They could assist with wheelchairs or hearing aids and other devices. They also train students who are visually impaired. They take them through the campus, through different buildings, and they actually hold their hand and take them everywhere to make them comfortable in the campus. For partially visually impaired students, they provide notes in larger fonts. They also provide certain specialized computer softwares like JAWS, which helps the students to read. If they cannot see, the computer reads for them. And they also provide counseling. So disability unit is a very key unit which you need to be aware of. If one of your mentees is a student with disability, make sure that these students get the proper assistance. Then we have health clinic. We all know about the health clinic and the wellness centers. They manage sickness and They assess various kind of minor ailments and they help with the treatment. They also also assist with family planning services. They also have assistance for chronic illness. They assist with flu vaccination, and last year they were also assisting with COVID vaccination in certain campuses. They also help with attending to emergencies. So health issues, there is health clinic and wellness center. We have dedicated HIV centers, AIDS services, which is highly confidential, and they help in HIV testing, AIDS testing, and also assist with counseling. They manage and follow up support for students who may be infected with the virus. They also provide antiretroviral drugs for students who may need it. Then colleges have career development programs or centers. They help with finding summer time or part-time work. They may help with interview preparation. They help with career guidance, with CV writing. I hope it's not news to many of you mentors because you have already completed your degree, most of you, but there is a center for career development. We have International Student Center who help numerous international students to integrate to UKZN. This assistance is for international clearance, to get study permit, to extend their permit, to renew permit, international levy clearance. They function, they organize various social functions so that students from various countries, they integrate, and also they have an open day or an international student day where they showcase various countries. All right, then we have risk management services, the RMS, who deal with security, and they also check permits on gates now for entry. They also assist with issuing of cards, student cards, and such issues can be dealt by the RMS. Cafeterias are there on different campuses, UKZN shuttle service between campuses, and last but not the least is the SRC, the Student Representative Council. This can be different on each campus. So on each campus, we have the campus chairperson, the campus secretary, we have student support officer, residence affair officers, and college reps for each of the college on the campuses. And again, at a central level, there is the president of the central SRC, the deputy president, and secretary general, treasurer general, and also other officers who assist students from time to time. So these are the numerous centers and facilities that students can avail, but it's up to us that we inform or provide the right information to our students who will be joining us. So I'll leave you with this a great proverb from Mother Teresa, Nobel laureate, a great philanthropist and social worker, who said, "I can do things you cannot. You can do things I cannot. Together we can do great things." Thank you for listening to me. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bobby Varghese. So thank you for taking us through all those key support divisions that are going to be crucial in providing the necessary support. So as a team, your homework is to ensure that at your college level and at your campus level that you're going to be operating, and at the institutional level, that you have in terms of your knowledge set, the contact details for all of these divisions, because you can't really just talk about onboarding a student in terms of the curriculum. You also need to be fully aware of all the various support mechanisms available to these students to help them with transitioning. So we're going to move on now to the registration process, and Professor Sarah Gibson was going to be doing this particular section. However, it leads on very nicely from what Dr. Varghese has just covered in terms of how students are going to be using the online registration system. So once a student has been accepted, right, and they pay the acceptance fee, they're now free to go and navigate the online registration system. But before they can do this, there is a key component, all right, namely that of providing curriculum advice. And coupled with curriculum advice is career planning, right? And therefore, it's crucial that before we let any first-year student onto the online registration system, that during that orientation week of next week, that we orientate them, we onboard them, but the next important phase is giving them the proper curriculum advice. Once we've sat and had a chat about the career planning and what they're wanting to do with their undergraduate degree. So we should have no students going straight to the online registration system, right, without us supporting them in terms of providing them with the basics when it comes to curriculum advice. And if there's any further additional queries, then to refer them to an additional team of what we call academic development officers and even academic leaders of teaching and learning, which you will be introduced to for your college when we have the college breakaway session this afternoon. All right. So when we look at our orientation program for next week, which will be circulated to you, you will see that we'll be spending the bulk of the time, once you've been given and allocated your first year students, that you will be spending the bulk of your time, not just taking them and facilitating them, onboarding them, taking them through the FYE, right, and getting them set up. You will also be assisting them with pushing them through to people who will be running the curriculum advice sessions for each college next week, all right? Noting that it is not your responsibility to do that curriculum advice, but rather to do the referral to the relevant ADO or academic leader of teaching and learning team to support them with that necessary curriculum advice. The next step thereafter would be for us to familiarize themselves with what the steps are with the online registration process. Because it is an online process, and therefore there could be technical glitches that students are not familiar with when they are doing this online process. So Prof. Gibson unfortunately has an emergency and cannot actually take us through. So I'm now going to step in and take us through what the online registration system looks like, right? Noting that students will only get onto the system once they've done the curriculum advice with our academic curriculum advice teams, which are ADOs and our academic leaders of teaching and learning. And then you'll find that students may have additional queries around, for example, as Dr. Varghese said, I cannot find my module that I'm wanting to register for. And there are really three key ones. Or secondly, my level of study is incorrect, and therefore I can't see the requisite modules. Or they are going to say that I have a clash, especially in the humanities, and therefore I can't register for a particular module because I have a clash. Who would they need to refer that to? All right. So it's those queries around the online registration system that if a student, remember you're the first port of call, you'll be helping them, right? You'll be taking all their queries from them, and then you'll be referring that query to a relevant officer to provide the necessary support to assist them with the registration. So instances like this, all right, we will be discussing in detail when we do the college breakout, because there are variations in terms of who handles those instances, for example. All right, so curriculum advice and planning generally is dealt with at the level of the academic development officers and the academic leaders of teaching and learning. And then there are technical components like changing a level of study, and then also ensuring that modules that are not linked on the system that they can't find, we have our college academic service managers with the principal administrative officers in the college offices coming through and supporting us. All right. So there are two key teams, the curriculum advice team sitting in our schools, in our colleges, which is headed up by the academic leaders, as well as the ADOs, the academic development officers. And then we have in our college offices, our college academic service manager, and on each of the campuses, a principal administrative officer and additional administrative officer supporting us with the technical issues, like, for example, level of study, modules missing, all right? And if there are clashes, they will also be escalating that to the academic leader who's liaising with timetabling to open more blocks to accommodate that student. So let's then work through the online registration system. And I quickly want to share my screen. Sorry, I just need to share my screen. All right. And in this video that we're going to show you, all right, you will see that I've taken you to the UKZN registration page. All right. It's the UKZN, right, registration 2022 main page. And on it, it's got some very important dates. You'll note that for the online registration, it opened on the 10th of January, particularly for returning students. However, we want the bulk of our F-turn students to start their registration process. First do the orientation, first do the curriculum advice. And then from the 7th, when we run in that week of the 7th, all right, 7th, that first week, we will then be onboarding, we'll be offering curriculum advice, and we'll be registering students up until the deadline of the 25th of February. So you're going to find that you'll constantly be adding, okay, the first-time students to your groups because of the protracted admission process that we've had. So we won't have all our admissions done by the first week, by the 7th, okay? We'll find that we will continue throughout the month of February. And what you will be doing is you will be repeating that cycle of onboarding, taking them through the FYE program unit 1, as well as ensuring that they have the necessary curriculum advice before you support them with the online registration process. So key dates there is that the final date for online registration is the 25th of February. We note that lectures will commence by the 14th of February. So we will have some students going in who will not be registered by the 14th of February, but the lectures would have commenced, okay? And so we're hoping that we can get most of them in by the end of February, right? The final date for the minimum fee payment required for registration is the 25th of February, right? And we also note that they have to pay the basic registration fee, all right? Which we will communicate, which is the 4,170 Rand, but we will put that in your package of information. And that information has also been communicated by the college office staff. So you needn't worry. When they do the admission, in the acceptance letter, they will communicate that information to say that in order to register, you've got to pay the basic registration fee by this particular date. And then also the final date to make any changes to your curriculum. So a student may have registered for particular modules, but you'll find that that is not the module that they want to take up. And therefore they can effect a change of curriculum by Friday, the 25th of February. Any changes around curriculum, any changes around changing a qualification, any changes around changing modules, changing a qualification, for example, withdrawing from modules, has to be proved through an academic process. And this is where the curriculum advice team comes in. The academic leaders of teaching and learning, so you've got to be familiar with your schools in your college, okay, as well as who is the academic leader, as well as who the ADOs are that can support on that change to a curriculum, change to a major, change to a qualification. That has to be approved, right? And you will find that colleges have a process which they will refer you to in the breakaway session that the student needs to adopt to affect any change. And of course, a change, okay, has to be vetted because we want to ensure that that change, everything we do, is not going to negatively impact on the students' progress and their success, right? So we don't want them to arbitrarily make changes without us advising on whether the change is the correct change for them. So therefore, we need the change to be approved by a curriculum advisor. Students also have the option to check on their application status. So if a student comes through and says, I don't know, I applied, but I haven't received any response from UKZN yet, there's an option via their CAO number and via the ID number to go and check what is happening with the application via the application status option. Then when you come down, there's information on on registration.
Of that, we have, I think, disclosed.
Okay, we've got feedback from some people coming through. You will note also now that there are two versions of a video on how to do an online registration. We're going to take you through that video. And there's also guides, okay, a step-by-step text guide with visual images of the online process that assists the student. And then in addition, this generic page takes you to each of your college pages registration sites. All right. And in addition to that, later on, there will be from what we call each of our colleges, further information on college-specific orientation that will be covered, all right, in your breakaway session this afternoon. I'm now going to activate the video, all right? Most of you have actually participated and viewed this video, but it's the basics on how to do and navigate the online registration system. Please confirm, I'm now going to play the video. If you have the audio. Can everybody hear the audio? Dr. Varghese, can you confirm if you have audio?
Yes, bro. It's very soft.
It's very soft though.
www.ukzn.ac.za.
Is it louder?
No, it's still soft. It's still the same.
Yeah, that's the best I can do from my PC. My apologies.
This will take you to Student Central, the official student portal.
I'm sorry, Ruth, there's no sound. We can't hear anything.
Has everybody got no sound?
And the total credits for
Yes,
Very
Prof.
soft.
There's no sound.
No sound.
Okay, hang on a sec. I'm just going to.
will show you how.
1 second for me, please. I just want to check a setting here. Dr. Varghese,
Yes, Prof.
are you able to play with sound if I stop sharing?
Okay, let me try. Just a minute.
Let me stop sharing. Have I stopped sharing?
Yes, you have.
Thank you, I can hear that. Colleagues, can you hear?
Yes, Prof.
Thank you.
Welcome to the online registration video where we will show you how to register as a first-time student at UKZN. Open your browser and go to www.ukzn.ac.za. This is UKZN's homepage. Click on the Registration 2022 button. Scroll down and select the college you wish to register with. Read through the information provided by the college regarding registration. This will take you to Student Central, the official UKZN student portal. Before we get started, please do not use the backwards arrow in your browser. If you wish to go back, please use the buttons within the program. Please add your student number and select Proceed. This will take you to Student iEnabler. On the left panel, click on UKZN Web Registration. This will drop down and give you buttons you need to follow sequentially. Click on View Online Registration Process. This will present a guide as to how to register. If you get stuck, return to this document. Next, select Rules and Regulations. You are required to read through this document and select Accept at the end of it. You will not be allowed to proceed with registration if this has not been accepted. Then select Address Validation. The red asterisk indicates mandatory fields that you need to fill in. You may update your postal and study address here and select Save. Select Personal Contact Details. Please check that your cell phone number and email address is correct, as these will be the main form of communication between the university and you. Click on New Registration. If you have multiple possible qualifications available to you, you will need to select the most appropriate one. Ensure that the qualification displayed is correct. Select your major if required and your employment status. Please note that selecting Employed means you are permanently employed. Click Save and Continue. Now, you will see all the modules that are available to you. Please note that feedback may not be immediate. You will receive an email informing you that you have feedback. Please go back into the registration screen and check. Underneath your name and student number, please make sure all your information is correct. The number on the right is the maximum number of credits you need to register for. Select your modules, keeping in mind the rules per group of modules and the total credits for the year. The system will generate errors if you break any rule. Select timetables blocks per module chosen. Ensuring you do not select the same blocks for modules within the same semester. Check that you have used all your credits that are available to you. When you are satisfied with your selection, click on Save and Continue or Previous to go back one screen, or Restart Process to go back to the qualification screen. If you have any credit errors, you will be required to request for approval of your selection. At this point, you can log out and wait for the university to send you an email with the new registration link. Green students with no registration errors will move on automatically. Once request has been approved or a green student has successfully made subject selections with no errors, you will be directed to a screen whereby you may upload documents. Some of your documents may be preloaded already. A list of documents will be shown on screen. Browse and upload a PDF file as required. If you have a comment, you may type it here. Once submitted, a notice will pop up saying your request has been submitted and the college will respond to you. This is why it is important to give us the correct email address. You may log out and wait for an email from the college. You will be advised if the documents submitted meet requirements or if you need to resend. If you log on to new registration before the email is sent, you will get a notice saying to wait for the email from your college. Once approved, you click on New Registration and you will be shown a summary of the modules you have chosen. If you are still happy, you may click Continue. If you are unhappy with your selection, you can press Restart Process. You will then be presented with a screen showing the costs of your registration. Click on Accept Registration to finalize your registration. Please note that there may be other costs that the varsity charges over and above this amount. You may restart this process if you are not happy. If you are happy with your selection, you can press Accept Registration. If you have any outstanding holds, an error will pop up. Click on View Error to see what errors there are. For example, if you have a financial clearance error, you will need to contact Finance to clear the hold. You can log out and contact the relevant department. At this point, your selection will be stored on the system and you will be registered automatically once your hold has been cleared. If you have no holds, you will now get a message stating you are now registered. Should you wish, you may print proof of registration or summary of costs and log off. Once the hold has been cleared, you may log on and click New Registration again. You will be taken to the summary page. Click on Continue. You will be taken to the registration cost estimate page. You will then be able to select Accept Registration. A message will pop up saying you have successfully registered. Click Close. You will then see the modules you have registered for Semester 1 and Semester 2. You are able to print this and keep it for your records. Go back to the left-hand side drop-downs. Click on Statement of Current Registration. You are also able to print this statement. You can log out. You have completed your registration. Well done. We look forward to meeting you in 2022.
All right. So that was the online registration video, which is there to support students on how to actually navigate the online registration system. And it's key that we take every one of our first time entry students through this video, all right? But only once they've been given the necessary curriculum advice. So this video will be a good, resource for you to ensure that they can actually understand and navigate the online registration system. And then if they have challenges, you will then be able to refer to the necessary people like the college office, right, officers, as well as if it's a curriculum issue, the curriculum advice team in the schools. We're now going to move to our final item before we do the college breakaways. Dr. Anna Bangasai is going to speak about roles and responsibilities of the FYE team. Dr. Varghese, please go ahead.
Prof, no, there is a comment in the chat asking for a 5-minute break. Can we do that?
Okay, let's take 5 minutes. We were meant to do the breakaway at 12, so we are ahead of schedule. Shall we do 10 minutes? And then we will come back at 11:05. Everybody happy with that?
Okay, Prof.
Okay, thanks everybody. We'll see you back here at 11:05. Thank you. Okay, welcome back, everybody. It's now 5 minutes past, and Dr. Bengasai, are you ready? I'm going to ask you to please mute yourself. You're not speaking. In fact, there's no need unless you are one of the facilitators. Please put all your comments and queries and questions in the chat, and we will assist you from there. So everybody should be muted, unless, of course, you're introducing somebody or you are presenting. Over to you, Dr. Bengasai.
Thank you, Prof. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right, okay. So my role is just to explain what are some of the roles and responsibilities of the FYE coordinators and the mentors. And I think if you were listening very clearly, you'll find that some of these things have already, been sort of like touched on by the previous speakers. Okay, so I'm just trying to put everything into perspective, so that at least you know what your roles are. So for first year experience coordinators, obviously your primary role is to lead and coordinate, all the FYE activities from the academic orientation, which we're starting on the 7th, in fact, from the orientation, which we should have already started now, the academic orientation, and all the other strategies, that are meant to support students make this a successful transition. So that's going to be the mentorship program, the FYE seminars, and any other, activities that maybe might be that your college might be offering to first year students. So in terms of the coordination role, it includes the following: collaborating, with academic support and professional staff. You need to know, for instance, all the academics that are teaching on, the first year courses for your particular school or discipline, depending on how your first year experience program is structured in your college. You need to know the different support services. I think this has already been clarified. Professional staff as well, you need to know, as well as clarify university expectations. So what this means is, as a coordinator, you need to understand the university policies, university expectations. Most of this information, you will probably receive it from the coordinators or the heads of AMS in your college. In terms of those from CLMS, most of you have already received some of this information, right? You also will need to assign mentors to all first year students. So as we get lists from academic services, from institutional intelligence, we send those lists to first year experience coordinators. You then assign mentors to all the first year students. So this process actually should have already started or should be starting now. Your role is also to provide guidance to your mentors, because you're the one who is in a way running that program, although you have to still report to the head of AMS in your college. So you need to provide your mentors, the mentors that are under you, with guidance in terms of what they need to do, where they are challenges. You also need to manage, the FYE WhatsApp group. So each mentor will obviously have I'm going to speak about mentors shortly. We have their different WhatsApp groups, right? But you have to be on each of those WhatsApp groups. So at least you can have an overview of what is happening in these WhatsApp groups. So for instance, if in your college, maybe as a coordinator, you have maybe say 20 mentors, you might need to be on each and every one of those groups. And I know it can become sort of like a challenge, because WhatsApp groups, they take up space in our phones. What I would advise is, maybe periodically, maybe say after a month or so, you can send all those chats maybe on your email and then delete it from your phone. That way it won't take up memory on your phone. But what we need, because at the end of the semester, you realize that all those interactions that were happening on the WhatsApp group are going to be very important for you when you do reporting, which is something that I'm going to speak about shortly as well. You need to track at-risk students as well. You need to know these are first-year students, at-risk students. Normally in the university, we get the at-risk status at the end of the semester, but we don't want to wait until the end of the semester because by then it's already too late for the students. So we need to be able to track them. So that's why I said at the beginning, you need to know all the lecturers who are teaching on first-year courses. After the first test, you need to get a list of students who are struggling. You need to know which students are not attending lectures. You can get that information from their mentors. You can also get that information from Moodle Analytics, from the lecturers who are teaching on those modules. So we want to try and identify these students as soon as possible. So risk is not just about failing. So it could be that they are not attending lectures. It could be that they are not submitting their assessments. So you need to know, and you will be working closely with your mentors as well as the lecturers teaching on the first year courses. So this information is very critical. For instance, I know in my college, we have set a date for, I think it's the 4th of April. By the 4th of April, we need to know who is at risk, right? We should have been able to do all of this. You could use that as a guideline, or you could also maybe identify your own date in your own college to know which of these students are at risk, and we need them to sort of come up with strategies that will actually help assist those students. Right? So, like I said, there might be differences in how each college approaches these things, but basically, in a nutshell, these are some of the responsibilities that you will have under coordination. Also, there is a facilitation response role as well. You have seen the curriculum that we have, and I'm sure from what Prof. Hoskins and all the other colleagues have explained, you understand that our program is multimodal. Right? It's multimodal in the sense that we've got a Moodle site. Our Moodle site is self-paced. So students can go to the Moodle site, go through the content on their own. That is one mode that we have. So you have to familiarize yourself with that platform. And then secondly, we're going to have first year experience seminars. So it's mainly more or less the same content, because remember, even if students are going through this at a self-paced, in a self-paced mode, not all of them might be able to do that. So we're also going to be holding seminars in our respective colleges. So each week we're going to have a seminar on the different topics. And as a first year experience coordinator, your role is to facilitate these sessions. You might work together with your peer wellness mentors, you might hold them, but the most important thing is that you will need to facilitate these sessions as well, right? Then there is also record keeping. You need to keep all records of all the first year experience activities, including but not limited to attendance registered. So you need to keep, for instance, for all the sessions, you need to keep record of attendance. We need to know which of the first year students, the mentees, are actually active in this program. We can see who are active on WhatsApp groups, who are attending the seminars, students who probably are communicating or interacting with the mentors or sending emails. So we need to know all of this at the end of the day, because we're going to need to know what has been the uptake of this program. Are all our students making use of this program? So you need to keep all records related to this program. And then also, reporting is going to be part of what you need to do. You're expected to prepare and submit summative at the end of every semester reports to the head of AMS in your college on all the FOI activities that have been undertaken. Remember that these reports will be presented to the college teaching and learning committees, school boards, executive, maybe college management committees, university executive, and will also be used to evaluate the program. So that's why your reports need to be as detailed as possible. And I think maybe what we're going to need to do with all the other heads of AMS in the different colleges is develop a template that you can use for reporting. That way, each college is going to be reporting on this program in a similar way, right? And I think it also, even in terms of record keeping, we will develop templates that you guys can use. At least we have the same templates. We know when we're evaluating our programs, we are using, a similar approach in all the colleges. So your reports will include, obviously, all the activities undertaken, what were some of the challenges, and what are some of the recommendations. It will also include, whatever activity, whatever you have done to monitor at-risk students. And believe you me, this comes actually in handy. Last year we had a case of a student who never attended any of the lectures. They never submitted any of the assessments, and they claimed that they didn't know that they should have a login and so on and so on. But because they had not received any communication from the university, but because we had all the evidence when the student was communicated, was contacted, the mode that was used, what the student said, whether the student did not respond to the communication and so on, we had all that evidence, so we were able to actually submit that report on what had happened with the student. And obviously the students, there was nothing that could be done because the student was in the wrong. So if you don't keep your records, you're going to experience those kinds of situations where students will say, I don't know what is happening, no one contacted me and so on. And at that time, the fault lies with us as a university. So keep all your records and make sure you've got records for each and every student. It is also going to include feedback from the first year students on their transition experience, how, this is subjective, but it is their feelings, it is their perceptions of the program, it is their perceptions of their experiences, and it's very important for us to improve on the program as well. It is also going to include a summary of all the key issues that have been raised by the first year students. Also, you need to, this is not part of reporting, it's part of some of the responsibilities that we have. You will need to participate in a series of compulsory training sessions, understand and abide by all the UKZN policies, and then maintain confidentiality on any information shared by the students. Familiarize yourself with the COPIA Act, know what needs to be done regarding that. Okay, you also need to attend compulsory group supervision and individual support sessions where required. So for instance, your AMS coordinator, because this is a new program, might say we're going to hold weekly supervision meetings where they guide you if they're experiencing any problems and so on. So that will be determined in each college, but in CLMS, we're going to hold monthly group supervision sessions. We might also hold individual support sessions for the FYE coordinators, depending on the need. Okay, so I move on now to, I don't know if there are any questions before I move on now to the role of the mentors. All right. Now with mentors, your role, your main role as a mentor is to be a knowledgeable guide, which means you need to know a lot of the information that first year students need to know. And you'll find that in each and every college, there are certain documents that we have. We have the orientation guide, which has all the information, that first year students need to know. So you need to have read that guide. So you need to know, for instance, all the details of this, where the support services are, what programs are offered and so on. So you need to have all that knowledge, because remember, first year students, especially at this stage, they know nothing about the university. So yeah, their first point of contact. So you contact with the university. So you need to be knowledgeable. You are also a role model. I would like to believe that you were selected as a first year experience as a mentor, peer wellness mentor, peer academic mentor, based on a number of factors, one being your academic record, which is good. So obviously you're an excellent student. It means, there are certain study strategies that you have used that made you successful, things that you can then pass on to first year experienced students, right? You're also a role model in the sense that you have not been missing your own lectures. You can't be a peer mentor and you are not attending your own lectures. It doesn't work like that, because then what is it that you're advising students? So we are assuming that you're a good student who is also going to be attending their lectures, because at the end of the day, this is what we do in my college. We also track your performance as a mentor. If by the end of the first semester, right, you are struggling, then we will have to drop you as a mentor. It means you are not able to manage the workload that you have. So your studies, they must not suffer. At the same time, you still should be able to do whatever it is that you have to do to support the students. Be a role model, a cheerleader for students, like when a student has been struggling and now, they are doing well, you're there as a cheerleader and also an advocate for students. Your role includes obviously participation in a series of compulsory training sessions, including this one. There might be other training sessions based on the different colleges, right? So they might have other sessions that they might need. For instance, they might be training from student support services and ongoing support. Mentors, can you please mute yourself? Can you please mute yourself? All right. Also, just like the first year experience coordinators, you need to understand and abide by the UKZN policies, right? You need to facilitate group sessions and provide individual support where required. So you might have to facilitate group sessions like with your group of mentees, or sometimes you might need to provide individual support. Also, you attend compulsory group supervision or individual support, either from the first year experience coordinator, or it could be with the AMS coordinator in your college. For each peer wellness mentor, you will be allocated a certain number of students. All this depends on the enrollment in your college and the number of mentors that have been appointed. So you might have, any number of students that you're working with, from 20 to 40 students, and you will consult with your group of students within reasonable hours. So what I mean is, it's like, you can't be having consultations late at night, and so on. It has to be within reasonable hours. However, I think that has been already mentioned. If they are, certain things could be emergencies, right? You might need to attend to that, but your mentees, they need to know that they are consulting with you within reasonable hours. One of the challenges that you're going to experience as a mentor, or even as a first year experience coordinator working with WhatsApp, is some students, they will find it very difficult to separate, what do you call this, to separate, what they need to do in personal issues, right? Some, they might see you as a friend, some might see you as something more than a friend. You're going to experience a lot of all these challenges. And we're going to have other further training where, we will equip you with how to handle some of those situations that you might find yourself in. It's very possible that, some students might end up falling in love with you, for instance. Those things have happened. We've seen it happening, right? How do you handle those kinds of situations? Obviously, you need to inform your coordinator. You need to inform, the AMS coordinator in your college. Okay, so when you receive your list of mentees, the first thing that you need to do is to send an email to introduce yourself to the mentees, right? And to avoid having mentors sending different kinds of emails, you can have a template. Your first year experience coordinator can come up with a template of an email, generic email that you will send to your group of mentees, right? To introduce yourself, and who you are and so on. So you find that when students register, they will give you their we have on SMS, we have their student, their email address, personal email address, we'll have their contact details and next of kin. So those are the first, you might use those is to contact students initially, but after they have registered, they have a UKZN email, the UKZN email becomes the main mode of communication with students. You also need to identify and refer agent matters to mute yourself to relevant student support services or any other support services, right? So you need to refer any agent matters. Remember, like I said, you are the first point of contact for students who need to be referred to student counseling. So you need to facilitate that connection. Also, you need to follow up on students that were referred to any form of counseling. One of the things that we have found over the years is that, when students are referred, if we don't follow, you will never know whether those students actually manage to, consult or even contact student support services. So you need to follow up and see if the student has not. And then you might want to go back to the student and find out, okay, why didn't they, go to the student counselings as they were referred? And you might find that there could be other reasons as well that maybe you could then advise them accordingly. You need to also formulate monthly reports on mentoring work covered with mentees and signed by your mentees. You also submit reports, documents and evidence, because as a peer wellness mentor, you'll be working with student support services as well as your AMS in your college. So you might need to support these also to your student support services or your AMS coordinator. All right, so I know we also have peer academic mentors amongst us. Most of what we have said about peer wellness mentors also applies to peer academic mentors, right? And you might find that with peer academic mentors, the mentor-mentee ratio might be lower because we have more peer academic mentors than peer wellness mentors. Obviously, you also need to email the students, create your WhatsApp groups. And because as a student, you're appointed to work for 5 hours a week, right? This is just a guideline. So you can have a 1 hour weekly group meeting with your mentees on MS Teams, and 4 hours are for mentoring students on the WhatsApp groups. We also encourage our peer academic mentors to complete the tutor training and development course. One of the reason being, as a peer academic mentor, what you are doing is also, there's an element of tutoring your mentees because you're focusing on the academic aspect. So this course will actually assist you. It provides you with some of the tools, strategies that you need to use when you are providing some tutorial support. And obviously, you also need to send reports, documents, and evidence of meetings to the coordinator. I would say the most important thing in the role of the first year experience coordinator and the mentors is going to be record keeping. Right? We're going to need that because we need to know the students, when they've been reached, when they've been contacted, what has happened. We need to have all of that information. It will help us, one, with improving the program. It also helps us understand what are some of the challenges that our first year students are facing. So it's going to be very important that you keep your records, up to date. Don't wait until the end of the semester to start trying to put together your report. That way you might find that some of the information has already been lost. Try and keep all your information, in one place. Update your record as the semester goes, that by the time you submit it, all the information is actually covered. So I think that's all in terms of the roles and responsibilities of the first year experience coordinators as well as the mentors. I don't know, are there any questions that you might want to ask me? Any questions? Okay, someone is asking, please help us. How should we do that record keeping? Let me see if I have, I'm going to try and share one of the documents that we have been using thanks to our previous first year experience coordinator.
Okay, while Dr. Bengasai is looking for her document on the template for reporting, there is a question from Kanisile in the chat. Is it the mentors or the coordinators who work 5 hours a week? I want to argue using the HR principles that students can only work 23 hours a month. So basically that equates to 5 hours a week. So it doesn't matter which role you serve in. That is the standard for any student employee in the system. Can you see that?
Okay, so this is an example of a document that we have been using in our college. Our first experience coordinator that we had was very, very innovative. So you see, we have a list of all the first year students on this list. We also have, the list of we also have on the same list their mentors. Right? And we have the courses, see all the courses that they are registered for, we have all that information, so in terms of all the work that we did with them, so we check whether they've been participating on WhatsApp groups, we had a success plan, which was more like goal setting, did they submit that, week one report, we have all that information and so on. I can send this as a template, and then you have the name of the mentor, whoever is mentoring those students. So in this one document, we have all the information about everything that is happening to all our first year students. And at the end of the semester, we also check their marks on SMS to see how they actually performed. And throughout the semester, we also check their attendance of lectures. We also check whether they are submitting assessments. We have another one. It's only that it might take time for me to find it. We also have another document where we actually list some of those, like for instance, the ones that are at risk. We have another document where we actually list what were the actual issues that the student identified. So we have all those information. So this could be something that you could do. You have all the information in one document. So at the end of the semester, if someone asks you what is happening with the student, you know exactly what is happening with a student A, student B, student C, and so on, whether they were participating, what they did, and so on. So this is an example of like one of the templates. I'll check for the other templates and I can share them with everyone.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Bengasai. There's a couple of questions in the chat that I think we need to pick up on. Prince and Laurel saying, please help us. How should we do the record keeping information? Prince, what Dr. Bengasai has introduced is a type or template of record keeping for an academic peer mentor. We will give you the reporting template, right? And remember, there's two sets of stakeholders working in this. There's the coordinators, which will have a separate template to report to their heads in each of their colleges. And then there's the FYE mentors. So over and above what Dr. Bengasai has given you, that is around academic performance. We also have to monitor their performance on our program, right? So we're going to merge a similar template and report for you, and that template will be adopted across the board by all 4 colleges, because we want one template to be used, because we also want to look at their performance, all right, and assess their attendance, assess their performance on the FYE program as well, in addition to the peer mentors supporting them with academic performance. So in each college, you're going to get 2 sets of mentors, right? And not to worry, we will also do additional training at the college level as to what those roles and responsibilities will be. Overall, we want, in terms of the first year experience, monitoring on that first year experience program, as well as the peer mentors working with the FYE mentors and the AMS coordinators and the FYE coordinators working to support the entire experience, all right, of our first-time entry students. So we will give you that template and what is required of you in keeping those records. And you'll see in tomorrow's session how you track performance of the students, and the analytics will also be there in the participation when you cover that with the Omnia Solutions person tomorrow. I can't see any more chats. Let me just see what else is there. Just want to look, what else is there? Anybody in the chat? Okay, so this one is about getting hold of our mentees. I just want to see who it's from. Bongeka, right? So Bongeka, as an institution, as academic institutions throughout South Africa, we cannot let an unregistered student onto the campus, right? And even if they are registered, they require a permit to be on the campus. So the reality is that we will be liaising in a remote fashion with our students. And Bongeka, you're quite correct. They will not have their student email until they've registered. So this onboarding process and this orientation process will see us dealing with students who are not registered, the bulk of them. So we're going to have to use, once you allocate it to them, you're going to have to use their admissions email, right? Until they're registered, and then we'll migrate to the UKZN email option. But for now, when we give you the student email and we allocate you a student, you're going to have to use the email account that they use for the admissions. And that will be any email account, it could be a Gmail account, etc., etc. And that is how you're going to have to set up your WhatsApp group or send an email to them, all right, using those 2 platforms. All right, that's Bongeka. What were the other questions? Just trying to scroll down in the chat. So can anybody see? I'm just battling with scrolling down. After Bongeka, what was the next? Next item in the chat.
Bongeka is a comment by Mashlangu, and I think you've already covered that. Can the mentors be given permits to return to campus residences? So I think you've already covered that.
Okay, only if you are registered. Only if you are a registered student, because you're operating as a student, that is your main relationship with the institution, will you be able to come back. If you are not registered yet, we cannot process a permit for you to come back. The basis for processing a permit is on the basis of you being a registered student. So if you are a registered student, okay, and you wish to come back to residence and you've been successful in securing residence, yes, we can ask for a permit to be processed. But if you're not registered, unfortunately, we cannot process a permit on your behalf. Okay, then Tandowani, sorry, I'm really struggling to see these chats. I'm registered, but I still cannot get the permit. Okay, we'll chat. As I've said, if you are registered, we can chat about you securing a permit. Who's after Tembekile? that the last chat item? Okay, we spoke about the 5 weeks, and that was the last chat. Okay, so we will speak to you about securing a permit once you're registered. All right, you will work within your colleges for that. All right, so wait for that information. It will come via your head of AMS, and we will then look at a spreadsheet which we will then send on to our college process, our return to campus college process, for you to secure that permit. But please note, the bulk of your work will be done in a remote environment, and some of your students may not opt to return to campus in the first semester because we're still offering an online teaching and learning plan. That may change by the second semester. However, for the first semester, we're still operating in that online teaching and learning plan. So while you may have some people who will be returning, please note, all of our programs have been offered in an online environment. If we do have contact, we don't actually encourage it unless we can socially distance and enforce the health protocol. All right. The bulk of our workshops and our seminars that we were speaking about, referring to, have been offered in a virtual environment. Okay. All right. Somebody asking about the differences. We will not go into the differences at this level because the differences are nuanced at the college level. So the differences will be between a peer mentor and an FYE mentor will be discussed in the college breakaway because there are different permutations in each college. Okay, the matters relating to the curriculum are going to be dealt with in the college breakaway. And so therefore I'm going to ask, there is an issue there around being registered, okay, and a dissertation submission. Please can I ask you to take that up with your coordinator and your college head of AMS. All right, so we won't go into that specific detail right now for that individual. And I need us now to wrap up the session. Should you have any further questions, right, please direct them. You'll be introduced to your coordinators now for the campus. Or if you are a mentor, your first line of communication is with your coordinator. If you are a coordinator or your coordinator is unavailable, you may, okay, depending on the arrangement you have with your head, speak directly. And I say may, that's dependent on the arrangement within your college with your head, all right? Your coordinator's line is line managed by your head, okay? And I'll repeat who the 4 heads of AMS or teaching and learning are. They are in the College of Agriculture, Engineering and Science, Dr. Bobby Varghese. In the College of Law and Management, Dr. Anna Bengasai. In the College of Health Sciences, there may be a different permutation. We have Prof. Duma as the Dean of Teaching and Learning, as well as Dr. Saloshni Pillay, but she is the Manager of Student Support Services. All right, so Health Sciences will communicate their protocol to their team. Then we have in the College of Humanities, we have Dr. Shamla Rama, all right? And in addition, we will have a slightly different permutation because we also have AMS coordinators who oversee the peer mentors in the college. Okay, so I'm going to say thank you to every single one of you for attending the morning session. I am confident that those who couldn't get into the Zoom session because of the licensing restrictions have been able to participate on the live YouTube session. Anna and Formula, are we going to be able to also do a live on the breakaway sessions, for each breakaway session, as we'll find that now the breakaway sessions will now be per college. So there's going to be 4 breakaway sessions. Please join your college's breakaway session, right? I'm going to now hand over to Dr. Bengasai or Pumla to please talk us through the breakaway session, how we get into our breakaway session. Over to you, Pumla.
Hello? Can
Hi,
you hear me?
Pumla. Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Pumla.
The breakaway sessions, I will open I will open the rooms once, and then they are divided into different colleges. So you just join. Everyone can join the relevant colleges. So
Okay.
Regarding the live session, I will contact Kurt and he will make the sessions live as well.
Thank you, Pumla. So for those of us who never joined the breakaway session, when Pumla opens up the rooms, at the bottom of your screen, next door to the chat or participants panel, somewhere around the area between leaving the meeting, and please do not leave the meeting, a pop-up will come up to say join a breakaway room, right? Click on that option to join a breakaway room. A window will then open and it will list all 4 of the breakaway rooms and they will be named according to your college. Then click your college and it will take you into your college's breakaway room. Everybody happy with that explanation? Okay. If you remain here in the main venue, Pumla, you will be in the main venue for about 15 minutes, just in case we get anybody who's uncertain. All right. Pumla will then guide you into your breakaway room. All right. Thank you, Pumla. You may now open the rooms.
Noted. The rooms are open. Everyone can start joining.
So scroll down, everybody. Please scroll down, find your room, and then join it. So College of Health Sciences is please scroll down, find your room, and join it. D2GA, please be patient. Scroll down in the window, find your college room and join it. And then a message will come up and say, yes, do you want to join that room? You say yes, then you should go in.
Hi, everyone. Can you all please try to find the icon named Breakout Room on your screen and join according to your colleges. Spelele Buthelezi, it's the second one in the list, the humanities. The College of Humanities is second in the list. Please look at the top left of your screen. There's an icon that is named Breakout Room. Please click on it and then you'll find a list. Could the people that are not assigned, please can you join the breakout rooms? Hello?
People are leaving the meeting and do not
Good afternoon, Prof.
Afternoon.
Afternoon. The ICS consultant has made you host. Is it possible to maybe change it and I can be host, please?
Who am I talking to?
It's Pumla Lamin.
Lamin. Oh. How much do you have, Lamin?
How much? Not a lot.
Okay. Now you are the host, okay?
Thank you so much, Prof. Thank you.
All right, thanks, pleasure.
Dear participants, can you please join the breakout rooms? Can you please join the breakout room?
Wesizwe ngubo awuzivale phela. Hambe ujoin i-breakout.
Hi, Pumla.
Okay.
Przepraszam cię.
All right, guys. CLMS, you can leave. I think we are done. Nothing is happening in the other breakout rooms. And can you also give me feedback tomorrow when you attend the training?
Stop. No, ayikho kumina. That means you. Ufuna ngi-stop live or ngingene ku-breakout? No, khuluma Nolo.